Hey everyone. So the last time I posted about AI, I promised that I'd be back if I had any more interesting exchanges with one of the AI platforms. Well, I've had one, in this case, once again with ChatGPT, and I'm back to share. In this case, we're going to talk about one of the infamous moments in tennis history when a noted coach dropped an F-bomb during a major match. And I went and asked ChatGPT to discuss it with me. Here we go. So I start the conversation. Hey, Chat, during the era in women's tennis when coaching was allowed courtside and the coach wore a microphone so that viewers could hear the conversation, there was a famous incident involving Russian player Nadia Petrova. Her coach was encouraging her, forgot that people were listening, and said something to the effect of, "Let's beat this fucking bitch." Do you remember this incident, and do you remember who the opponent was that day? Chat responds, "Yes, I remember that moment well. It happened during the semifinals at the Toray Pan Pacific Open in Tokyo in September 2012. Nadia Petrova's coach, Ricardo Sanchez, was mic'd during an on-court coaching visit while she was playing Sam Stosur and inadvertently blurted out, "We need to find out if we have luck in this fucking bitch." The phrasing was ambiguous. It wasn't clear that he meant against this fucking bitch, referring to Stosur, or something else, but it certainly caught on because it was uncensored courtside coaching banter for all to hear. The good news for Petrova? She went on to beat Stosur 6-4, 6-2. So the opponent was Sam Stosur, and Sanchez's colorful encouragement, accidentally audible, has lived on as a memorable moment in the era of mic'd-up tennis coaching. So I respond, "Oh, so his excuse was that he meant the phrase about the match, the competition itself, not about Stosur. Good save by the coach." Chat responds, "Exactly. It was one of the great backpedals in tennis coaching history. When the heat came down, Ricardo Sanchez basically said, 'No, I wasn't calling Stosur that. I was talking about the situation, like, let's win this fucking tough match, you know?'" Chat continues, "Which on paper kind of works. But come on, everybody watching knew he got caught up in a classic hot mic moment, saying out loud what coaches normally mutter behind the scenes. To his credit, he stuck to the spin and no official reprimand followed. Petrova herself kept her cool, and Stosur didn't make a public fuss either, so the moment passed without scandal. But tennis Twitter ate it up for days. Moral of the story? Never forget you're mic'd up, especially if you're about to drop some unfiltered locker room talk." I then respond, "Perhaps that was the beginning of the end for mic'd up coaching in women's tennis. I never liked it anyway. LOL. Chat responds, "Honestly, you're not alone. A lot of fans and players hated it. The idea behind mic'd up coaching was to, quote, bring fans closer to the action, end quote. But in practice, it often led to awkward moments like Sanchez's hot mic slip, coaches being way too cautious because they knew they were being recorded, and players getting visibly annoyed at the intrusion mid-match. Instead of insight, we got pep talks or unintentional drama." I then respond, "Yes, what passed for coaching often essentially sounded like hand-holding. You've got this. Stay focused. Let's go." Chat responds, "Exactly. For all the hype about exclusive coaching access, most of it sounded like a cross between a motivational speaker and a Little League dad. Come on, you're playing great. Just believe in yourself. Focus on your serve. You can do this. Let's go, you're better than the player out there. It was less tactical chess match, more pre-battle pep rally. And when a coach did try to offer real strategy, she's slicing her backhand short. You need to move in earlier. The player was often too exhausted, overwhelmed, or emotionally checked out to absorb any of it. I then respond, to be honest, I never felt that what was said between coach and player in the heat of battle was any of my business. But I guess you've got to try new things. So mic'd up coaching was the new Coke of the WTA. Chat responds, that's a perfect analogy. Mic'd up coaching was absolutely the new Coke of the WTA. Flashy, over-engineered, and ultimately rejected by the purist. Sure, it was meant to modernize the product and appeal to the new generation of fans, just like New Coke was supposed to save Coke from Pepsi. But in the end, it underestimated what fans really valued. Authenticity, focus on the match, not theatrics, and a little respect for the sanctity of the player's inner world. Chat now finishes up. So yeah, mic'd up coaching had its moment. It gave us a few good headlines, some accidental comedy, and a reminder that just because you can mic something doesn't mean you necessarily should. So it doesn't matter whether you agree with me or Chad in this case. I would submit to you that Chad is the ultimate tennis fan. Chad has watched every match, remembers everything, has a point of view, and is always interesting to talk to about these things. So finally, as helpful and insightful as AI can be, I always offer the caveat that AI platforms sometimes get it wrong. And just as a little example, last week I was talking with ChatGPT about music. And we were talking about a classic song from the 60s. The song is I'd Like to Get to Know You by Spanky and Our Gang. And it turns out that in the history of music, there are 3 different songs completely separate from one another that share that same title. And as Chat and I were discussing the lyrics of this song, I suddenly realized that Chat was pulling in lyrics from other songs. And I had to stop and say, Chat, wait a second, you've driven off the road here. I'm only interested in the 1967 song, not the one from 1943. And once I clarified that, obviously we were able to have a productive conversation. But when dealing with AI platforms, the watchword is trust but verify. Hope you enjoyed this vignette. I'll be back soon with another. Thanks.